This is Chapter 7, Deploying Shares, and how to share resources on the network. And the tools we're going to use for sharing are Shared Folders Console, Windows Explorer, NetShare Command, and offline files. So let's start with Shared Folders Console. This is available through the Computer Management Console or as a standalone MMC snap-in. It's GUI based and it views the users connected to local shares. This is useful if you're doing maintenance and you need to restart and someone is still working. Now let's talk about Windows Explorer. Windows Explorer is another GUI based tool you can use. You can create new folders for sharing, or you can share existing folders. You can do two ways to configure the shares. You can do it as a network file and folding sharing, or advanced sharing. And with the network file and folder sharing, you use the file sharing wizard. And with the wizard, there is 4 types of access or permissions to the shared folder. So the owner is the user that created the share. The co-owner is a user or group that have full control over the file share. A contributor is a user or group that can modify the resources within the shared folder. And the reader is a user or group that can read and execute the shared resources as well as viewing the available resources inside of a share. In the advanced sharing, which you use a properties dialog box for this, you can use the file sharing wizard, or you can perform more advanced tasks like adding shares to another folder or caching offline files, limiting the number of simultaneous connections to a shared folder. So there's a little more detail in what you can do in the advanced sharing. NetShare. This is a CLI utility, which means it's a command line utility. It allows you to create and manage shared folder resources. There are a lot of switches for assigning permissions. So there's different ways that you can assign permissions. The properties for a share have to be completed in a command line. When the share is first created, the only other way you can modify a shared permissions on existing share is to use a GUI utility or just recreate the share with entirely new settings. So you need to make sure that you put everything that you want down in your share first in a command line and then deploy. Offline files allow resources to be available when clients are not connected to the network. This is also called caching. It's similar to the DNS caching. The offline files are defined by administrator at the resource level. However, they do point out that file sharing is a serious security risk depending on the sensitivity of the files being cached. The client options for the caching of the offline file. One option is only the files and programs that users specify will be available offline. So this allows users to define which shared resources they want to have available. And the next option is all files and programs that users open from the share will be automatically available offline. This creates an automatic offline copies of shared programs and documents that a user can access. This makes it easier for users because they don't need to define the items to cache, but that is pretty big if you're looking at a bunch of files that you're going to share being copied. The other option is to files or programs from the share will not be available offline. So this means that it's just not going to be cached. So now we're going to do activity 7-8, creating a shared folder using the command line interface.